12 News at 10 with Mark Curtis and Caribe Divine starts now.
Good evening and thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Caribe Divine.
I'm Mark Curtis. Tonight, an Arizona father is facing charges after his young daughter died in a hot car. It happened last week in Marana.
12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra is joining us live tonight. And Gabby, you have learned some alarming new details.
Well, Mark Caribe, the father reportedly told police that he had left the child sleeping in an air-conditioned car, but the court documents I've obtained tell a different story. His other kids told police that he was distracted playing video games, and apparently this isn't the first time it's happened. Christopher Schultz is facing second-degree murder and child abuse after allegedly leaving his 2-year-old daughter in a hot car for nearly 2 hours. His children tell police this is something that happened regularly. Court documents reveal a text conversation between Schultz and his wife the night the child died. His wife said, "I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you?" And Schultz responded, "How could I do this? I killed our baby. This can't be real." Police say it was 109 degrees at the time of the 911 call. The car was parked in direct sunlight.
I can't overemphasize that you shouldn't do that.
Emergency doctor Frank Lavecchio says many things can go wrong when a child is in a car by themselves, even if the air conditioning is left on.
If you leave your car in a sunny spot, it rises by 1 degree Celsius for the first 30 minutes. So the temperature goes really, really high inside the car.
10 kids have died nationwide in hot cars so far in 2024. This is the first one in Arizona, according to the National Safety Council.
There's never a time that I can think of is a good time to leave a dog or a child in a car.
The Good Samaritan law in Arizona allows people to break a window if a child or animal is at risk in a car. Deborah Nolan, the law's author, says that person must first call 911 and make sure there is no other reasonable manner in which the child or animal can be removed.
If you see something, say something, but in our case, if you see something after you've said something, do something, because you need to get that child or dog out of the backseat of that car.
And Schultz pled not guilty to the charges against him. He was released to pretrial services. Reporting live in Phoenix, Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.
Gabby, thanks. Well, last night at this time, we were dealing with some pretty strong monsoon storms. So how are things looking this week? Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries is here with your weather impact forecast. And Ginger, before we look ahead to the next few days, is there anything on the radar right now?
There's a little speck of moisture that we're seeing. This is on the north side of Phoenix, and if you blink, you might miss it, but it just lets you know how I'm tracking these systems. Follow along right here. You're going to see the darker banding, about 19 drops of rain, just a little north of the 101 between the 51 and 17. Obviously, these storms are very temperamental, and I was warning you all last week that we were going to get some significant rainfall on Sunday, and that certainly came together. Now we're squeezing out what we can from the atmosphere, but all of it, for the most part, staying in the higher elevations. Still picked up some hail today in Flagstaff and some heavy downpours in Prescott, and of course Tucson had some strong winds. Right now, Futurecast data showing anything developing tonight? Nope, not for us. Everything is dissipating as we're speaking. The watches and warnings all being allowed to expire. So now this system is going to loop around and give us increased opportunities for some pop-up showers. How is that shaping up? Isolated at best, at least through about Wednesday. Then we're going to up the ante. Notice Thursday into Friday, our coverage is going to expand to about 20%. And here we go on Sunday once again. And this is still multiple days out. Really anything beyond 72 hours I wouldn't bank on. But I'm looking at another fairly hefty round of moisture coming our way on Sunday. So what does that mean for the monsoon meter? Well, tomorrow only a 1. Isolated storms, higher elevations, and blowing dust with a possibility of dry lightning. Remember, with a 3 on the board for the higher elevations, we still could see small hail and gusts of up to 50 miles an hour with localized heavy downpours. Some of this could make their way into the valley. I'll be tracking that coming up in my full forecast. Back to you.
All right, we'll see you then, Ginger. Thank you. New tonight, we are only halfway through July, and there have already been more child drownings in 2024 than all of last year. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly is going over the data, and there's a common thread in nearly all of these cases.
a tragic trend across the valley.
Right now, it is so imperative to watch your children around water.
According to Children's Safety Zone, this year 13 kids from newborns to 5 years old have drowned. That's higher than all of 2023.
Our numbers have increased,
with the majority of them happening in Phoenix. Captain Todd Keller with the fire department says their numbers doubled.
We've had 8 fatalities last year. There were 4, that's pediatrics at ages from 0 to 5 years old.
All from a cause that is preventable.
It is extremely frustrating.
Lori Stauffer is the vice president of the Arizona Drowning Prevention Coalition. She says the organization studies these incidents and found in 70% of the cases, the kids weren't expected to be around water.
They're drowning in their street clothes, not in their swimsuit.
With parents or guardians not paying attention to what their kids are doing.
There's several kids in the pool and the parents are distracted on their phones, doing some yard work, maybe grilling, doing something other than watching the kids in the water.
When asked if there is any other common thread when it comes to these drownings.
The only thing that we can figure out is that people aren't understanding that this is something that can happen to them.
Protective barriers around pools and swim lessons are important. But Stauffer says constant supervision is an absolute must.
Be vigilant all of the time because this is a tragedy that no one wants to experience. I know too many families who have said, this is a club I never wanted to belong to.
In Phoenix, Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Chase, thanks. New at 10, a 12 News I-Team exclusive. A woman who reported being robbed at gunpoint is now sharing her terrifying story. No arrests have been made, but the case is once again being reviewed. Bianca Bono joins us live in studio tonight with a report that you'll only see on 12 News. Bianca?
Yeah, Mark, this woman previously worked as a dancer at a gentleman's club in the Valley, and after she was robbed at gunpoint, this same thing happened to 2 other dancers from the same club, including Mercedes Vega, who was later murdered.
You feel so unsafe.
This is the voice of a woman who reported being robbed at gunpoint nearly 5 years ago.
It felt like it got swept under the rug.
No arrests have been made in the case, so for safety reasons, she's sharing her story publicly for the first time on the condition of anonymity. She's a former dancer at a gentleman's club, and the attack happened around 4:30 in the morning as she was getting home from work.
I had only been living at my aunt's apartment for a month.
After parking in front of her aunt's Scottsdale condo, a Scottsdale police report says a man holding a gun ran up to her wearing a ski mask, telling her to drop her bags.
I became completely paralyzed. I could not move at all. I was just screaming.
She said he then got closer to her face with the gun.
It wasn't pressing my skin or anything, but it was right there.
He then took her bags and ran. She ran to the apartment to call 911.
I thought that he took my keys because I couldn't remember anything, so I was just banging really, really hard on her door, and my knuckles started bleeding because I was hitting it so hard.
Police launched an investigation and she immediately moved. Despite suspicions the suspect followed her home from work, police say they did not make a request for surveillance video from the gentleman's club. Less than a year later, in October of 2020, she found out the same thing happened to another dancer at the same club, Mercedes Vega.
I felt really, really, really bad for her.
A month after that, yet another dancer from the same club reported a man attempted to rob her at gunpoint, only stopping when a passerby arrived.
It was the same thing that happened to me, and ski mask, all of that.
Suspect Cujo Young was arrested in connection to both 2020 cases, and records show he was seen inside of the gentleman's club following the incidents. In April of 2023, Vega was murdered. Maricopa County Sheriff's officials say they will not comment on any possible connections at this point. Vega's death and the 2019 armed robbery case remain unsolved.
That event was so life-altering in a really negative way for me. It's a gross feeling.
A feeling she's been forced to accept until now. Just last week, the Scottsdale Police Department telling 12 News detectives are reviewing the 2019 and 2020 cases to see if there are any connections with them. A glimmer of hope nearly 5 years later.
I felt seen in a way because it did have such a negative impact on me. I do want justice.
And back to the 2020 armed robbery and attempted armed robbery cases, those cases still have not gone to trial. They were actually supposed to go last week, but Cujo Young's attorney changed,
pushing the trial date back to October. We're live in studio tonight. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
All right, Bianca, thank you. Still ahead, former President Trump